Welcome to the milk bar. 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 Welcome to the milk bar.
Welcome along to episode 667 of The Milk Bar. Jason Forrest here with you as ever. And coming up on the show this week, Jeremy Edwards, star of Holby City and Hollyoaks, will be along, letting us know about Dead Lies, which he stars in at the Lichfield Garrick in May. Tina and Kev Crook from Kev Wolf Events will be with us, letting us know about what they have going on and moments of spirituality taking place over the summer, including an event in Wombourne on the 24th of April. We'll be hearing from Tina J Cox about Autism, Poetry and Me, her talks which are taking place. She's got a couple of events booked over the next few weeks. Plus, we'll be talking about her poetry and where you can get that online too. And we'll be joined by three of the Certain Collective. They've got a brand new single on the way. It'll have another amazing video with it. And we're talking more about their radio play too. That's all coming up on the show this week. Dead Lies is at the Lichfield Garrick from the 24th through to the 29th of May. Star of the show, Jeremy Edwards, joins me now to explain a little more about what's going on. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I'm good. I trust the world's treating you well and you're very much looking forward to this tour.
Yeah, I am. It's very, very exciting for me. It's a wonderful piece of work. It's a very intriguing play. It's a bit of a mystery, sort of a murder mystery, dare I say, with a political edge. So it's very of this time.
Yeah, I mean, it's the most scandalous thriller of the year is the way it's being billed. And say that political edge. And in times of political turmoil, both in the UK and globally, it really is something to think about. And this brings it all to the stage with a murderous twist.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the situation is, I'll give you a quick outline of what the show is about. There's a politician called Peter George, who's played by myself. He's the leader of a new party called People First, who does exactly that. They just want to put the people first. And it's a really simple manifesto. He's not going to lie. He's going to pay people's taxes back into looking after the people. He's basically going to do the job that he's supposed to do. I know, shock horror. He's actually going to care about the people and pay for things and make sure that people are better off as a result of paying their taxes. So obviously he's romping his way to be the new PM because there's huge public support for him. And then something happens and it may derail him. Will it stop him from winning his campaign? Did he do it? Is he guilty? Is he really the man who we all think he is? And it's just a wonderful piece of work, phenomenal writing, some fantastic speeches I get to deliver. And I defy anyone not to want to vote for this guy. And yeah, I'm not going to tell you whether he really is the guy or not, but it's an edge of your seat type show.
Okay, so this is what you will see when you come along. Hilary Bonner behind this piece.
Yeah.
And it's inspired by the Jeremy Thorpe political situation in the 1970s, but with a backdrop of today. And I think that gives a whole new edge because with the 70s, obviously, communication and technology, people relied on their daily newspaper. They didn't have phones and computers that could update them within seconds on what was going on. And that must give this whole political thriller a bit of an edge that wouldn't have been possible previously.
Oh, very much so. I mean, when things go wrong or awry, shall I say, in this, it's wildfire. It's a matter of seconds because phones are beeping. There's a team around my character who constantly have their phones on. They're checking Twitter, this live news from here, radio. Everything is flying in. So it's a really delicate tightrope that they've got to walk because, like I said, the slightest thing can wobble that rope and everything can come crashing down. So it's almost tougher now because you can't cover things up as easily as perhaps you could in the 70s, because there's so many outlets now and everybody can be a broadcaster. You can go live on Facebook or Twitter or loads of different things. You can say, look at this, look what's happening now. I saw this, so I think the path to success as a politician, especially if you're trying to be prime minister and there'll be people gunning against you, it's going to be a very, very tricky one. But this guy is a very charming, enigmatic character who was an ex-barrister who then became an MP and has genuine care for the people. So he's the real deal.
Now, when it comes to returning to the stage, I mean, that must be a fantastic for you. Obviously, you've done your time in Hollyoaks and the like, and I know you enjoy your TV work, and everybody loves having you part of it. But there's nothing quite like an onstage thriller to really test you, and you get to enjoy that audience interaction. You hear the oohs and the ahs as the twists and turns take place.
Very much so, and even not. It doesn't even have to be vocal. I don't mean to be pedantic there, but you can just feel the energy, you know. And there's an excitement, right? I don't know a single actor that doesn't prefer doing theatre to TV. I've done a lot of TV. I've done a lot more theatre than people realise. I have done West End. I've done tours and been up to Edinburgh, as well as lots of pantos and stuff like that. So I spent a lot of time treading the boards. But there is that thing where something like this, you get so excited because you think, well, if they like that speech, wait till you hear what I'm going to say next. And it's that thing of like going, oh, yeah. Because they'll go, oh, my God, I didn't see that coming. And you think, yep, you've no idea. I'm just about to completely take it another way. And it's a wonderful train to drive. Do you know what I mean? And all the passengers get on and everyone will be completely involved. And I'm also looking forward to when it comes to the interval, and you know, we have microphones obviously on stage, so we can hear when it's our cue line to come on, you know, from our dressing rooms, but also they pick up crowd chat. So in the people need to be aware of that, by the way. When it comes to the interval, be careful what you say about the actors, because we can hear you. But I'm looking forward to hearing what people think. Oh, you know, do you think so and so? Oh no, he must have done. Oh no, he can't have done it. Or do you think so and so did it? Or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So there's that side of it, which will be joyous for us. And
you've got an amazing cast working alongside you as well.
Yeah, we do. Portia Boroff, who's playing my wife, is a phenomenal actress. I've got the whole list of them up here because I'm terrible to remember. Alicia Charles, who's been in Coronation Street. There's some brilliant. It's not about what people have done. I think that the cast is incredibly strong. Hillary's writing is incredibly strong, and Joe Harmston, who's our director, who did all of Agatha Christie stuff for 10 years, he was in charge of all of that, which will give you a clue of how strong this is been brought in, and he's just adding a whole nother element as well. So I think it's a very strong piece, which is going to be made all the stronger with the addition of such a strong cast, excellent writer, and of course a fantastic director.
And it's exactly where we want to be, getting back to this sort of thing on stage. We've had 2 years of hell when it comes to theatre, and it's going to be amazing to actually be back out on tour and share this sort of thing again.
Oh, absolutely, and we have a responsibility in that it's got to be all killer, no filler. It's a luxury for people to go to the theatre. We're well aware of that. People will still have concerns. We're well aware of that. And with the cost of living increasing, and all this in the newspapers, and obviously, there's a lot of fear mongering going around. This isn't a heavy. You're going to come out thinking, but in a good way. You'll really enjoy it. Some fantastic performances and some wonderful twists and turns. And I think that it is actually a step out of life. It's a step away from the norm, or at least I hope it's away from your norm. Do you know what I mean? So it's a really strong piece, but it's not flippant. It's not glib, but it'll make you think. But I think it's highly enjoyable. So I really hope that people do make the effort to come out, and I think they will. I think it's so strong. I firmly believe in it, and I think that word of mouth is by far, in my opinion, the strongest advert for anything.
Absolutely, and for the fact you've got someone who's been a star of Holby City in there as well, you've already got a legion of fans who are going to be wanting to come and see you anyway.
Well, they're age appropriate now. This is the thing. People forget. I may get older, but so do my fans. So they might actually be interested in this now. Because they've got families, and everyone's had to get more interested in politics. But it's not a political play. It's a mystery, and it's a sort of a whodunit. Just happens to be involved in the world of politics, and of course, there's obviously journalism is brought into it because of Hillary spent her time as a journalist before becoming a novelist. Mm-hmm. So there's some influences there as well. Fascinating world.
A feast of murder, scandal, sexual indiscretion, all against that political backdrop. It's going to be absolutely amazing. LichfieldGarrick.com to get your tickets. 01543 412 121. Get yourself into what's going to be an amazing piece of theatre. And I think you can't talk highly enough about this, can you?
No, I really can't. And I say this. I mean, we're still in rehearsals now, and every day I'm learning more and more. I'm learning an awful lot as well, which is wonderful as an actor so long in the tooth of myself. And I try to do I genuinely try to do different things and interesting things. So I've done all kinds of films and theatre and all, you know, from every. And this I'm learning day by day. I mean, the level of detail here and what we're bringing out from it is exceptional. I'm incredibly proud of it. I really am.
Oh, Jeremy Edwards, star of Dead Lives at the Lichfield Garrick in the main auditorium from Tuesday the 24th through to Sunday the 29th of May. Thank you for joining us, having a brilliant time on stage, break a leg, and we look forward to a bit of a political thriller, but also that all that intrigue that comes with it.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Certain, the collective producing amazing music and media alongside it, have another part of their project about to emerge into the world. To tell us more, Judith joins us once again. Hello.
Hello, Jason, and thank you for having us on.
Well, good to talk to you. Now, you get to introduce everybody else. We like to do that. So you're queen of Certain.
Okay, so next to me here I have Nick, who's my co-writer.
Hi there.
And we're also very excited to have Dan Crew with us today. And Dan is the genius behind all the animated videos that we've been putting together for Certain. So he's very much bringing the project to life visually for us. So we've got Nick and Dan with me today.
Hello, Nick. Hello, Dan.
Hi there.
Hello. Right, so first of all, I mean, I do have to say, I mean, it is both wonderfully sounding and beautifully looking when it comes to these projects. You very kindly allowed me to use the videos down at the Wolverhampton Racecourse for the City Bonfire last year, and we had you on the big screens, and it looked absolutely amazing then. And this is exactly the sort of place and to the sort of audience that we would expect this to be hitting. Of course, online globally, you're hitting huge numbers of people. But what is the latest in the collective's production?
Okay, so this is the third one in the trilogy so far, and this is called It's All Right, featuring Amara Latchford, who's got an absolutely gorgeous voice. But Dan, I'll let you talk about what the idea is behind the story with this one.
They'll tell you about these two characters. They have sort of own like little quirks. They're sort of like OCD-ness, and they're sort of like ways of getting through the world. And then the idea was for them to sort of meet randomly in Wolverhampton, and they're sort of having like a bad day kind of a thing where they're trying to make their way through to their respective jobs or where they've got to get to, but they are struggling, and they find each other and they help one another through the medium of sign language and communication in a way. But it's not full sign language. It's a thing called Makaton, which is sort of like a way of communicating with your hands almost. Mm-hmm. And from a little spark of communication, that little moment of them meeting, they sort of form a friendship, and you see that sort of develop with the video. And and it ends with them sort of forming that bond, which will later go on to the certain point where they form the group Certain. So we're still sort of establishing those connections between the characters at the minute, and this is their story of their connection.
Well, this all looks absolutely amazing, and the quality of the work here, Dan, I'm not just picking you up because you're there, it is truly awesome. How do you go about approaching something like this, from storyboard right the way through to final music video?
In my own sort of way, I guess, because I'm not really an animation team. It's just me on my own. So I literally I'll get the track as early as I can off Judith and Nick, and then just get a couple of hundred listens, as much listeners, just sort of get into the zone of it. And I don't really listen to the lyrics almost. I just sort of get the feeling of what does it sound like? What would I like visually to happen to this beat of the music, to this sort of feel of the music? And with this one, because it's so like, it's also like mellow, and it's like just a lovely little flow to it, like a little bouncy little. This is just my interpretation of it, and because of that, I just saw like these interactions with these characters, just what would happen at this part of the music, and then from there, I sort of thumbnail it out in my sketchbook, like, okay, I want this sort of set piece, I want this set piece, and one of the big set pieces in this video is going to be the Manda Centre is going to be lit up with like a smiley face. So that was like the big image that come into my head. I was like, right, that's the set piece. I want that to happen. And like, how do I get around that? And what's going to happen before, during, and after this moment, and then just put the jigsaw pieces together and get it into a flow, and then play it back. And once it plays back good, and there's a story there, and it's a circular narrative, and it works, and then the animation process begins, and then we start making the drawings and everything.
And then the drawing itself, this is all computer based, or do you have something on paper as well?
It generally starts off on paper, because I take my sketchbooks with me, and I just have my music in like cafes or at my desk at home, and I just scribble down as much as possible and just get it from head to paper, and then it goes into digital. So like they end up being digital projects. It's all digital by the end of it, but the process starts on paper,
So, I mean, it gives you a chance to be part of that analog world. And as you say, you may be at home, but you may be in a coffee shop. And that's probably part of the inspiration, isn't it? The fact that there are things going on around you and you're sort of drawing that into the artwork that you're producing.
Definitely, especially with this one, because it's very Wolverhampton centric. These videos, it's all set in Wolverhampton, and then the characters are from Wolverhampton. So I literally had a day going around taking photos of there's going to be loads of locations in the video you'll recognise. Some of them are bodged together, like you'll see like places of Wolverhampton bodged together, because I want to construct the background that way, and you're like, hang on, that ain't there, but it is. So yeah, I go around drawing Wolverhampton. I take a day taking photos, and I sit in caps and I draw, because I need to be like soaked in the location to get the sort of feel of what I want, you know.
And with that, and then the music that runs alongside it. I mean, Nick, Judith, I mean, how do you sort of see the sort of culmination of this? Because we're three stories in, and there's still so much more to give from certain, isn't there?
There's loads more. I mean, and it's evolving all the time. But yeah, this is the kind of what's wonderful at this point. It's like a trilogy of videos, and if one was to get to know the backstory, you'd see that they all interlink, which is brilliant. It's all around mostly Wolverhampton. Again, it's all local artists. So we'll be moving on, I think, to the fourth single at some point.
Yeah. But
we're also working on a radio show for the first episode, as you might know, Jason.
Well, as I've read the script and my part in that script, then yes, I am now well aware of what's happening. But I think the whole, the radio concept of this, I'm not trying to load extra work onto Dan, but I can still see this turning into an animation possibly at some point.
Yes,
it has the potential. Yes, it depends how it's going to snowball and what direction it's going to snowball into. But yeah, I'd love to see it turn into something like that. Yeah, crazy, but yeah.
Okay, just make sure I get a favourable cartoon character.
Yeah, you can sign off on your character. Don't worry about that. I'll
But so it is all. I want to look a lot younger. But it is all about the talents that we have. And again, this is something which, although it's so very Wolverhampton centric in some ways, it's more than that. It's sort of the whole metropolis feel of our worlds these days, and that really puts Wolverhampton on the map, which is brilliant because we have such talent here, and you're really showcasing that in every way possible. But also, I think it calls out to other cities around the world to all be part of it and sort of feel the love of certain.
I think so too. And the thing about this particular song, when we wrote it, it's very much a sort of rallying cry to all the oddballs in the world, or people who feel like they don't fit in some way.
Everybody thinks it's them, don't they? Oh, it's just me. But everybody's a bit, sometimes feels slightly out of it and thinks maybe they don't fit in. But actually, it works itself out.
Everybody's feeling that in their own head, and I think that's also kind of what the video shows as well. You're sometimes trapped in your own experience, and it's hard to communicate with other people. But actually, everyone's going around in their own head with their own worries, and a lot of people feel like they don't fit in a lot of the time. So it's a rallying cry to everybody who feels like they don't fit in.
So that happens in Wolverhampton, and it happens in the rest of the world. We're all,
it's kind of saying it's all right.
But we're saying, it's all right. It'll be all right.
Well, everybody's part of a jigsaw. It's just you may not have the right piece next to you at the moment, and that's possible when you go global.
Exactly.
So what are the release dates? What can we expect to see and when?
So release date for It's All Right is May 20th. The radio play is a work in progress. So we're not sure, but we're hoping that's going to come within certainly by the second half of this year. And we also have some recordings with Ange Lloyd, who was the second featured artist in Certain, and they will be making their way out towards the end of this year as well. Some new recordings, which we've
got such a good response. Yeah, people are saying we want more. From that powerful, really powerful voice. So
more is coming.
So more is coming.
So I've absolutely loved everything I've heard and seen so far. It's been absolutely brilliant, and it's empowering for those involved, but empowering for those who listen as well. And I think that's part of the message, isn't it?
It is. I really hope that's what I really hope for this project.
We do want something positive from this thing. We're trying to put something good,
positive out there.
There's enough misery, as we know.
Yeah.
So just a little moment of joy or just to lighten one's heart.
The 3 minutes can change your mood, can't they?
Can. They really can.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Well, it is absolutely fantastic. Give us all the details on what we can find and how we get the back catalogue now, because you officially have the back catalogue, and what happens going forward.
So the best place to find us is, I think, if you start at the website, which is www.certain.media. And from there, you can find all our social media and some more information, and you can click and see the videos.
And Dan, where do we find you and all of your work in addition to what you've done for certain?
You can find all my work at www.danielcrew.co.uk. All my music videos on there, my show reel, and all the work I'm working on at the minute, because I'm sort of working on videos in tandem to this as well. So, yeah, it's been a crazy couple of years, and there's a fair few videos on there for people to enjoy and have a look at. So, yeah, and with more coming. So, yeah, it's great.
Absolutely well worth checking out. He's a very talented man. This is one collective which really knows what to do and how to make things work. Very much looking forward to not only working with you further, but also for more as we get to hear and see what's happening. For now, Nick, Judith and Dan, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Jason. Thank you very much.
Always trying to hide, forever running from what's inside in the shadows. When I found you there, you can't dance, and I don't care. Been a long time in the cold, on the outside. Feel too young, feel too old. In the lost and found, something shiny on the underground. Found a secret circle in the square. Coming closer and let them stare. Been so long out in the cold, looking inside. Feel too young, feel too old. Suddenly it's alright. You smile at me, it's alright. And all the world can see we're alright. When you're with me, it's alright. And if there's someone for me, there will be someone for you. If I can find the one, you're gonna find me too. And if there's someone for me, there will be someone for you. It's alright. So come on inside now. There's someone for me, there will be someone for you. If I can find the one, you're gonna find me too. And if there's someone for me, there will be someone for you. Oh, it's alright. Oh, it's alright, my baby. If there's someone for me, there will be someone for you. If I can find the one, you're gonna find me too. And if there's someone for me, there will be someone for you. It's alright. Oh. And if there's someone for me, there will be someone for you. If I can find the one, you're gonna find me too. If there's someone for me, there will be someone for you. It's alright. So come on inside. And if there's someone for me, there will be someone for you. If I can find the one, you're gonna find me too. If there's someone for me, there will be someone for you. It's alright. So come on inside. And if there's someone for me, there will be someone for you.
Kev, Wolf Events are running some absolutely fantastic mini trade shows which are taking place across the region. Their next one is taking place on the 24th of April in Wombourne. They're actually at one at the moment as we speak. So to tell us more, I'm joined now by Tina and Kev Crook. Hello.
Oh, yeah, you're all right.
Morning, Josh. Good to see you, and I'm all right. Thank you very much. I hope we're finding you both well. So, first of all, explain a bit about what goes on at these events, and in fact, what you'll be doing today, even though obviously we can't plug the event you're at the moment because it'll have happened by the time everybody hears and sees this.
It's a Mind, Body, Sprit Fayre and a craft fair. It's where exhibitors come along with all their gifts, what they've handmade, or there's readers, or there's healers, and they come along and offer it to people. And people come in and just enjoy the atmosphere.
More spiritual well-being.
Spiritual well-being, what it is, the paranormal.
And supporting local traders getting back on the feet.
Absolutely, and this is what we need a lot of at the moment. And you've already mentioned the fact there's going to be things that are handmade there. And this, if you're giving that as a gift, it is something really personal. And whether it is the paranormal side of things, which again is a very personal experience that you'll be going through, or whether it is something which is based around general well-being, it is nice to be able to have that moment and go to a place where everybody's in that right frame of mind.
It's going to be a lovely, peaceful, tranquil event today, and every event we have, we set the right atmosphere in the town, and people actually comment how nice and calm and relaxing it is, and they enjoy it. We tend to end our events with a bit of Queen.
Get the atmosphere,
to lift everybody up to back
really
up.
Happy.
But it's about giving something back to the local traders who helped us in the past, and they've gone through 2 years of help, so it's a bit of chance to give them something back to it. And as cheap as possible, we are different venues, and they come in and sell their goods. A lot of the stuff's handmade. So and some of the tarot readers and that come along and do readings and things. They've got healers here offering different treatments. So there's a vast array of stuff in there.
Mm-hmm. There's also we always have a trader who comes with us who sells patisseries, so they always go down well.
Absolutely, can't go wrong with a bit of pastry at an event like that. That sounds brilliant. That's all part of mental well-being as well, I think. But there we go. I'm just biased because I like pastry. So the next event you got coming up, 24th of April. That's taking place in Wombourne. Tell us a bit about what people can expect there.
Much of the same. We just like to set a nice ambient atmosphere for people to come along, get away from all the stresses of everyday life, and just soak up the energies that we offer. We have nice relaxing music playing on in the background, so it sets the tone. And they all just come along and just have a browse round. And there's always somewhere nice for people to sit and relax and just wind away a bit.
We do find people tend to like to support the small businesses and local traders rather than going like to Asda or Sainsbury's to buy the stuff. So when they can see it's been handmade and they put some effort in there, people appreciate that. We did one in Wombourne the middle of last month, and everybody who came in was saying, "Oh, great, you're coming back. When you're coming back." So crying out for things like this. So yeah, it's time to get back there again. So it's been 6 weeks since we did the last one. So
24th of April, 12 till 4, Wombourne Leisure Centre, and you'll find us in the dance studio. Unless it grows too big, and we outgrow that, we'll have to go into the sports hall.
And it is growing quite rapidly.
So basically, you've got traders who are trying to get involved and getting in touch to be part of it, I take it?
Yeah.
So how do they do that?
They can contact the page, Kev Wolf Events, on Facebook. They drop a message. It's an automated message if I don't respond straight away. It gives our email address. So it gives them a chance to put forward what they want to sell, what they want to display. We try not to duplicate too many things, so everybody gets a fair share. So you ain't got like 4 crystal stalls or 4 people selling candles. They haven't got a chance. So we try and make it nice and fair, so everybody gets an equal opportunity to sell something. So that's about it, really, isn't it?
Yeah. We tend to have quite a few traders.
Quite a few regular traders who keep following us and keep coming back, which is good. It shows we're doing something right with regards to they feel comfortable with trading with us.
And we don't collect them as traders. It's like
they're friends. It's like a big family. Yeah.
And so a wide variety of things. What has surprised you that someone's brought along to sell? What's been the most exciting thing for both of you two?
Just
it's hard to put a finger on anything. I mean,
it's nice to see the traders happy
and seeing how creative they are. I mean, they make lots of things out of wood and stuff, and they create different shapes out of that. There's a lady who comes with us regular, sells handmade candles, and they look good enough to eat. I mean, there's a lot of fruit on top of them, and you look at them and thinking, that ain't a candle. It's something you could eat, but yeah. But
And they smell lovely as well.
They've got different perfumes, and you look at it, it's got a pineapple on the top. It smells like a pineapple.
These things are actual works of art, and then you have to set fire to them.
They put a lot of time and effort into the thing, so it's hard to say that particular thing, that's the one. There's so many different varieties of different things. I mean, we got a lady here today doing henna tattoos and glitter tattoos, which people don't get the chance to go. It's not something what's done traditionally around, but they got an option to come do that today, and the kids will be able to have glitter tattoos and things. And she started following us around and coming around.
And Tina is going to get... Tina, what are you getting?
Well, I had a henna tattoo the other week off her, and I know she's coming today, and she'll hopefully coming on the 24th. And I have pre-booked saying I want another one doing. So it's nice because I like the idea of a tattoo, but I'm too scared of the needles, so I'd rather just have a painted on one.
Well, it's artwork, and it'll last a good week or so, won't it? So I think that's the nice thing about it.
That's the one I had done a couple of weeks ago.
It's still there.
And it's still there.
Yeah, so it's a nice bit of art, which is there with you for a little while. You can take photos of, and but then you can change it for something else without all that nasty needlework or the lasers. So I think it's a good bit of fun, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
She's selling lots of Gothic stuff as well, isn't she?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
There's a lot of Gothic stuff, and we've got a lady here today selling spooky stuff, ain't there?
Yeah,
ghosty stuff. So that'll be interesting. That's the first time she's come.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what she's got today from our point of view.
Yeah.
But you do like your paranormal stuff as well. So we'll no doubt talk about that at some point in the future. But Kev Wolf Events is what we're looking for. Find you on Facebook and get involved if you want to be part of it. Obviously, as you already said, you won't have too many of the same type of stalls, maybe one or two doing a similar sort of thing. But it is all about having that community, these traders coming together and really sharing a whole community spirit at the same time as everybody exchanging cash and enjoying some brilliant products which are unique to them.
Yeah,
that's totally
and
true.
It's always free entry.
Yeah,
we never charge people to come in.
It's always free. Always free to get it.
Yeah, you shouldn't have to pay just browse, should you? Really, that doesn't work, does it?
No.
Even if people just want to come in, sit down, have a cup of coffee, or just sit down and soak up the atmosphere, that's fine. They don't have to buy anything, but a lot of people tend not to. They tend to come in, have a browse round, buy stuff, sit down, have a coffee, and then go.
Yeah, and enjoy a pastry at the same time.
Oh, absolutely. We already put our orders in. You'll have to come down, Jason, one of the times. It'd be good to see you.
I'm sold on the pastry already. It'd be good to catch up with you two again, because obviously, for people who don't know, I've known you for the best part of 20 years, Kev, and Tina for nearly as long.
Easy. Yeah.
Happy paranormal days when we come to see a certain radio station.
Lovely to see you both now. Have a brilliant time at your event today. Enjoy your one in Wombourne on the 24th. Give me the time details again.
12 till 4.
12 o'clock till 4 on the 24th of April.
Yeah.
So get yourself along there. Check out all the details on the Facebook page, Kev Wolf Events, and you'll be able to see what's going to be down there and get yourself involved if you're somebody who looks after that whole spirituality and well-being side of things, and you've got some brilliant products to share. People will want to come and see them. They're eager to get back into the marketplace at the moment, which is brilliant. For now, Tina and Kev Crook, thank you for joining us.
All right.
Thank you, guys. You look after yourself.
Tina J Cox is going to be out and about with Autism, Poetry and Me, one of her talks, and so much more besides, and joins me now to tell me about what's going on. Hello to you.
Hi, Jason. How are you?
I'm good. I hope we find you well.
Yes, very well. Thank you.
Good stuff. So give us a bit of a background to where you are with your work so far before we talk about the two events you've got coming up.
Autism, Poetry and Me initially started up as just an idea for a workshop, one individual workshop. It was going to be nothing spectacular or individual, but it was received so well that I actually thought, hang on a bit, I've actually got something with this. And it wasn't just helping with explaining autism and obviously bringing my poetry out into sort of the open. It was it was connecting us. It was connecting people, you know, beyond red lines, beyond red tape. And that's what the brilliant thing about it was. And as it is now, I've been asked to do Warsaw Festival for Words. And that's just great. It's a real privilege. And also to help with Mental Health Week again.
So, I mean, two absolutely brilliant pieces of work to do alongside this, and all because of the special skill set that autism gives you.
One thing is resilience. That's just, to be perfectly honest, sometimes I do actually think, at what sort of stage would I be? How would I be without autism? And it's not even, it's a no-brainer, because for me, I wouldn't be without it. Yes, there are bad days, but there's also, you know, the bad days you kind of bounce back from, because there's always something you think, hang on a bit, without that, I wouldn't be me. Simple as that.
Yeah, it's part of your personality, it's part of your world, and the way in which you view and take on that world. And that allows you insights that aren't there for other people.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I think the way in which you've approached this as well, brilliant work to be done. So, do you think, which do you think feeds most? Do you think the poetry feeds the autism, or the autism feeds the poetry? How do you think those two things work hand in hand?
Because I'm not very adept at expressing myself verbally as I am on paper, or on paper as it was then before computers and phones. I do express myself better poetically, or even if I'm just texting. That's more often the case, where it's more detailed, and that applies to a wide range of autistics, and not necessarily, just me. It does interfere with that sort of side of things as well. And again, I think the fact that I'm able to express myself better writing, that helps the poetry. And also knowing the fact, being aware of the fact that, if you like, my weaknesses as I am my strengths, that sort of is a big thing as well.
You've got an amount of poetry that you've written. I mean, where can we see this published at the minute? Have you got books out there?
I do. I have a few books at the moment. They're on Amazon. My most recent one was about 3 or 4 years ago. It was self-published. Cigarettes, Chips and Bets. That was mostly dedicated to my to a partner that I had a while ago. He passed away. And there's sort of a lot about grief, my journey with grief, another, love, loss, everything that you do, poetry on. Yeah.
So it's got all the traits and a background, and insight into your life and your world, but one that it isn't governed by autism. It's something that runs hand in hand with your life.
It is. I don't let it. I was brought up at a time, and this is part of the workshop, when autism was known nothing about. So I really hate admitting this, but I was, if I did something that was autistic, then I got shouted at. So in a way, I've been, for want of a better word, and it's the only word that springs to mind at the moment, programmed to behave in a certain way when either out in public, and yes, I do slip at times, but I do have the normal side that's been programmed into me. And I suppose people would call that the masking, which means that you can put on a show for a certain amount of time before you begin to burn out. When that happens, it's basically you just can't do it anymore. You can't function like you did. You become very tired. So you retreat almost, or I certainly do, into sort of my autistic self. And that means, again, for me, everybody's personal and individual. I will sit in a room, and 9 times out of 10, there's no sensory stimulation. There's no noise. I don't have no news on. I'm terrible for the news, and I love the news, but I won't even have that on because I start to feel too much. So I have to retreat back from my feelings. Yeah.
And it's like you are fortunate in as much as you're able to use this state of mind once you've passed through that and turn it into part of your expressiveness and the way in which you write. And it's about everybody using what skills they have. This is your way of working because of how you're wired. And I think, it's often people talk about autism as a disability. It's not. I don't like talking about disabilities. I think everybody has a different range of abilities and different enablements, and that's that's how everybody works. So you've got to take everything that you can in life, grab it with both hands, and run with it. And certainly, by the sounds of things, you're doing exactly that. And by sharing with others as well, and getting them to understand people who have a different. It's just a mindset, really, in many ways, isn't it?
It is completely. As I say, there's the poetry side of it, but there's also as far as children go, being from the time where none of this was heard of, and certainly, nobody, it wasn't the first thought that it seems to be these days. Well, is the child ADHD, or is it, is the child autistic? There was none of that then. It was very much I got bullied. And if I can, go into a school and discuss with people that, no, it's not good to, to bully people, because this is how it made me feel. This is what it did to me. And if they can learn from something that they may not even have done, somebody else's experience, then that's great.
But bullied not only by school bullies, but also by the system in many ways too.
Yes. I mean, we were people then were remedial, we were thick, the dunces. And in a good many ways, people with Asperger's syndrome, although not diagnosed, they were above average intelligence. But because they may have shown their, behaviour differently, then it was, we were just different. We got the mang. There was something wrong with us. And it's not the case.
No, it is purely making sure that the world allows everybody to get the best out of all their skill sets. And that just means a different interface sometimes. And as you already said, poetry is your interface into expressiveness that it doesn't always come out of your general conversation.
That's correct. Yeah. I mean, I'm forever learning, and the fact that certain things may not come out in conversation, I'm learning about daily. It's really quite bizarre, because I was diagnosed in my 30s, and after having my 2 children diagnosed, and I actually thought, I went through that and I did that, and you kind of relate certain experiences to what they went through and how they are. And it was then by Maxine Aston I was diagnosed, and I've never looked back. I've embraced it. It's took time in regards to learn about autism, as far as I'm concerned, because you can't say, yeah, but I know that person and I know autism now. It doesn't work like that. Everybody is individual. And it's complicated, but it's worth it. And I'm forever on a journey now that, to be perfectly honest, I don't want to end, because the more I find out about myself, the more confident I am.
And you've also got to unlearn some of the things that were put in place, which were society's limits at the time. And if they had been approached differently, it would have allowed you to shine earlier, rather than having to wait until your 30s before everything started to come together.
There is that. But again, had I have not gone through the experiences I did, would I be here now doing what I am? And for that, I can't, at the time, going through, sort of being the person I was, and having, I mean, it wasn't Mum's fault. Mum and Dad just handled things the way they thought was best. But if a child has that done to them now, it's called abuse. And I'm not sure I'm keen on that.
No, and I say you've got to work out who you're dealing with when it comes to the kids and how you should be dealt with. And I say that goes across the board for absolutely everybody, whatever it is that makes them not standard and makes them special. Because everybody's special in some way. This whole thing, the reason we have an average is because that's just everything pulled together. And there's always both ends of that average scale. And however it works out and wherever you are in that lineup, that's just you. And you've got to be allowed to be you, and the world needs to help you. And as a good community, we can all work together so that everybody gets to have their moments of glory and show what they can do.
That's correct. Yeah. I'm all for everyone, neurodiverse. In fact, just everyone that's human, just doing the best that they can. And I think ultimately where it boils down to is, love and kindness. We can have as many divisions in society as the media will put in place, i.e. race, creed, religion. And ultimately where it comes down to is how we are with that person. How do we make that person feel? And if we can make that other person feel irrespective of all those things I've mentioned, then I can't see why we should have problems in society.
Yeah, all of those things are just surface, and it's what's beneath that really makes a difference. And wherever we're from, whatever our background, we've all got blood and bones and muscle.
We all smell the same way.
And that's all that makes us physically, and then mentally we get to the people with the people. And it's the mental attitude of people and what their ideals and values are that we should judge by, and nothing else. And as long as we're all being nice and allowing everyone else to kind of get together and be who we should be in a positive way. We don't want people being negative, but we should allow others and to shine in the way that we get to as well. So it's great to see what you're doing through your talks, your workshop, and how autism, poetry, and you all fits together. So you've got a couple of events coming up. You're part of, say, Mental Health Week, and you've got that event in Warsaw. Where do people find out about you and your work? How do we get to you?
Right. I do have a page on Facebook called Autism, Poetry and Me, funnily enough. And from there, it's relatively a new page and something that I'm working on pretty much daily. I put things on, whether it's a little snippet of me or, a snippet of what I do in relation to autism or my attitude towards it in respect of neurodiversity as a whole. And that's what I try to encompass is, people in general. And if we can embrace that sort of attitude, whether it's whether people call it a disability, an inability, or they go by ableism, whichever. I just want people to remember, as different as we are the same. And that's sort of what I promote on there.
Well, that's where we need to go to. Look on Facebook, looking for Autism, Poetry and Me. You'll find Tina J Cox there, and you'll also be able to find her on Amazon as well if you want to pick up that poetry work and the other books that are there too. Well, Tina, lovely speaking to you. Thank you for joining us. I look forward to more work from you in the near future, and let me know when you got a new book out. Okay.
Thank you very much, Jason. You take care.
That's enough for this week. Thank you so much for joining me. Back with episode 668 next week. I'll see you then. Ta-ra for now.
Goodbye from the milk bar. 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 Yeah. Goodbye from the milk bar. Yeah.